It's Hello and welcome to the Baker Senior Show. I'm Marian LaSalle, and our host today is Steve Baker, and he is going to be helping us understand a little bit more about Medicare. Hi, Steve.
Hi. Hello. Hello. How are you doing? First thing I'd like to mention today is you hear these terms. One is Medicare supplement, and the other is a Medicare. It's basically not Medicare Gap, but Medigap. Medigap and Medicare supplement. So those two terms confuse a lot of people, and I'll clarify it by saying some people call that little thing that runs down the road on four wheels an automobile, and some people call it a car. Take your choice. It's the exact same thing. So Medicare supplement, a supplement, and a Medigap policy, exactly the same thing. Just
Thank you for clearing that up. I appreciate that analogy because you're right. The English language has a lot of different words for the same thing. Mm-hmm. So vacation and relax, those are very similar, but they still have differences, right?
Right.
So are there differences between Medigap and what's the other term for it?
Supplement.
Are there
Medicare
differences?
Supplement. No.
Okay, so they're exactly the same. They just have a different name.
Exactly the same.
Wow, okay.
Exactly the same.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Yep.
So today we're talking about Medicare N and G. Mm-hmm. Are those Medigaps?
Yes.
And they're they are supplements.
Yes. So they're supplements. This is on the supplement side. Remember, there's two sides. There's the Medicare Advantage plans, and then there's the supplement plans.
You can't say that enough, Steve, because I get confused. So if I'm confused, I'm sure other people are too. Medicare is new to me because I'm just about to get to that age where it's important for me to understand it. So I'm glad you keep saying that because I know it's common, knowledge for you, but for someone like me who's getting ready to get ready, we're hearing all these terms for the first time. Now, we've all heard of Medicare, and we've all heard of, turning 65. That seems to be the magical number for senior discounts and things like that. But when it comes to Medicare itself and what it covers, it is confusing. So thank you for being here to explain it all. Sure. Now, if you're in the audience and you want to ask Steve a question, feel free to. If you're on YouTube, we are live. If you're on Facebook, we are live. And all you have to do in the comment section is to ask a question, and we'd be happy to make sure that you get the answer to that. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're listening to us on your podcast, that's not live, but we could still answer your questions. So feel free to just send us a message, and Steve will get right on it, won't you, Steve?
Sure.
All right. Okay, so we're going to talk about Medicare G and Medicare N. Now, up till now, I haven't heard those. I've heard of A, B, C, and D. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go. Let's dive in.
Right. Well, there are parts, and then there's plans. Parts.
Oh no! Really?
Yes, exactly. Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. And so then you know that's one world, and then another world is plans. You go over to the plans. So Medicare is broken down into two major sections, like I've talked about a lot before. You've got your traditional Medicare, Medigap, or Medicare supplement. All of those are exactly the same. Traditional, Medicare, and Medigap, all the same. The terms are exactly the same. So inside traditional Medicare, we have choices. We've got plans, A, B, C, like you were talking about, Plan G, Plan F, and Plan N, and so forth. Those are the main ones that you just need to remember. But Plan F for new enrollees only, people who are brand new to Medicare. Plan F has gone away as of January 1st. So there's no more Plan F. And Congress did that several years back, and they pointed out that January 1st, 2020, they did this about, I guess, 5 years ago, as I say. So they did that, and January 1st, Plan F is for new enrollees, people who are in the existing plans. That's they're fine. So Plan F fines, that's fine, that's okay. But for new enrollees, G and N are pretty much the ones that you need to look at. And I'm going to explain the difference between the two.
Now, this is the traditional Medicare. This isn't the Advantage.
This isn't the Advantage.
Okay,
exactly.
Those are separate. Okay, go.
So Plan G has been pretty much the go-to plan for many years. Other than F, you could do F or G, and I'm not going into the differences since it's no longer available for new enrollees. But now we're down to G and N, and I will explain the difference between those two. They pretty much work the same, except the Plan N is somewhat less expensive. It has a few minor drawbacks, which I'll talk about. G has just been, it's basically the go-to plan for me, especially when I talk to my clients. But more and more, we're looking at Plan N, and the reason is that it's some dollars less for the premium. And then there's some other things that go along with that are advantages. There are a few disadvantages to Plan N. One is that once you get on it, on the G, when you go into a doctor's office, you just march right in, as long as you've met your Medicare deductible of this year's 2020 of $198, then fine, you're ready to go. Basically, there's no cost for your whatever is going on with your body and so forth. All the tests, MRIs, CAT scans, all of that. Plan N does the same thing, except for an office visit. When you walk into a doctor's office, there's that sliding glass door they all have. You know what I'm talking about? They slide it back. They slide it back.
I know exactly. Like, why are you hiding back there?
Yeah, right. So you announce that you're here for your appointment, and of course they never say come right in. They always say have a seat and just wait, or even if you're the only one in the office. But then they call you in. Once you pass that glass window, everything's exactly the same, because you're no longer there for an office visit. You are, but you see the doctor. Everything else is exactly the same. So if the doctor says we need to do some x-rays, we need to do this, we need to do this test, whatever, then that's where the changes come about. It's exactly the same. There aren't any changes. But N and G, you must pay up to a $20 copay for your office visit. That's on this side of the glass door. Once you pass that, everything else is exactly the same. I hope I made that clear.
Yes.
So whatever he says or does or offers or whatever, exactly the same. So you could, if you don't see the doctor a lot, the Plan N could be very beneficial for you, because you could save, I'm not going to give a percentage or anything, but you have some reduction in your overall premium that you pay on a monthly basis. Now, there's something that's called an excess charge, and I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, but some physicians, specialists, major specialists, typically, I'm going to draw out two, dermatologists. Well, dermatologists, let's just talk about dermatologists. They like to not take assignment. So in other words, if there's a test and say it costs $160, Medicare will allow $160. That's their assignment for it, $160. Then that's what they will pay the doctor flat out, $160 for that. But doctor says, I'm not going to accept that. By law, they cannot charge more than 15% of that. So they can take their excess, they call it excess charge of 15%. Now $160, I've already done the math, it's $184. You add 15%, it's $184. So you have, as a Plan N person, you need to pay that extra $24. So those two are the major things. You're $20 up to $20 for the office visit, and then if the doctor doesn't take assignment, then you pay the extra. And the immediate question, if you set an appointment, if you don't know your doctor or you're new to them, you can just write this down. Do you take Medicare assignment? 75 to 80%, maybe even 85% will say yes, we take it. So they're relegated to that $160 charge. And there's a big chart that they use, and various charges and so forth. No extra 15%. So, but on the end, you've got to pay that extra 15% if they charge it. You need to know that beforehand. So a $24, program. And that goes all the way through the other things that go on, MRIs, CAT scans, blood work, x-rays, all of that stuff that you go through. They tack on an extra 15%. Most physicians, by say most, I'm going to throw out a percentage. I said earlier, 80%, let's say 85%, somewhere in that range. Most physicians take and earlier on I said there are two groups, and I'll circle back on that in just a second. But most of them do take the full assignment as settlement.
So, I have something to throw in here. I have a question.
Okay.
Does this include when doctors come to visit you?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It's the same thing. Same thing.
Okay.
I know the case you're talking about, and then that case, that's an Advantage program, and you have experience with that, and that's the other category. That's the other world, the Advantage world. Remember,
okay.
we're in
a different world now.
we're in the supplement world, right?
Okay.
So the two specialists who I'm not saying they 100% don't take it, but the two who do not like taking the assignment are psychiatrists and dermatologists. A lot of them will go ahead and take the assignment. So the question, especially if you're going to set up an appointment to a new dermatologist, and especially if you happen to need a psychiatrist, then you need to definitely check to see if they take Medicare assignment. If they do not, all is not lost. You can still take advantage of your Medicare stuff. So those are the two major differences. So Plan N is a little more complicated than Plan G. Plan G is just straightforward. You just go right in. No figuring about the 15% and all of that kind of stuff. So, but Plan N is more popular, especially for people who don't go to the doctor on a regular basis. But for people who have some kind of ailment, diabetes is an example, they probably need to go ahead and do Plan G when they sign up.
One of the nice things about working with someone like you, Steve, is you know all this information ahead of time. And so when they start telling you their story, which I'm sure we all have it, then you can, in your mind, and maybe in your research, can figure out exactly which plan and which supplement or which part that they need and will work best for them.
Right.
Some of the things that have been traditional in the past no longer work for us. I'll give you an example. I'm in the technology world, so I work with a lot of people who want to work online.
Mm-hmm.
They want to have a job where, as long as they have strong internet, they can work. So they may be moving around. Well, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, everybody just stayed put. Okay, they may have moved, like physically moved their house and their family to a new area, and that was a big deal. But now people are moving around.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting in a motorhome or a camper van and they're heading down the road. And as they turn 65, that can cause problems with their Medicare, with a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but you have to have a physical address to live in the United States of America. And if you don't, you have to establish where you live. So that's another thing that they could do. They could contact you and say, where should I have my established home base to get my mail and to let the government know I definitely have an address here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get my Medicare, in order to get, a checking account, there's a lot of different things that require you to have some kind of physical address. So they can send you bills and they know you're a real person.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that people could reach out to you and say, okay, Steve, I plan on retiring soon from my job.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a whole another ball of wax that you could, unravel, ball of yarn, if you will, unravel that and say, okay, are you going to keep your company benefits? Are you going to go with Medicare? And if they're going to be moving around, you might be able to help them. Not might, you are able to help them figure out the best case scenario for where
Mm-hmm.
they're going to live.
Yeah,
It's complicated.
It is, and that's that's a really good point, because what I can do is I can draw back on my database of existing clients, and I'll say, oh, that sounds like Mr. and Ms. So and so, or whatever. I'll give you one. I have a couple of clients now. I signed them up about a year ago, and they were on a church staff, and they decided that they wanted to go on a mission to basically go out into the mission field. And they moved. Everything was all set up for them and all that, but they went to Argentina. But they went ahead and signed up on their Medicare. I got them all fixed up there, and we used their adult children's address. So all the mail about Medicare and all that kind of stuff went to their children's home. And that's one way of doing it. And it seems to me like it's worked very well for them. And whenever they decide to return to the United States, then they'll find them a place to live or whatever. And that will be their new address. But for now, their children's home is their base.
Right. Now, let's say their children's home is in Canada or in Michigan, and they never plan on going to Michigan to get their mail. They don't even have any children. So my suggestion to them would be to get something like it. Now, I happen to work for Office in America, where you can get all your mail there, but it doesn't have to be that. There are plenty of places that will collect your mail and give you an address in the state that you choose.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's an
just in
option.
case,
Yeah.
just in case you don't have adult children that will handle, or they're not responsible enough to get your mail.
Sure.
There is that too, you know. That's why I
Right.
say
Exactly.
everybody's life is a little different, and that's why coming to you would clear all that up to help them. Now, of
Mm-hmm.
course, they can call 1-800-Medicare,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have given that number out many times, but that person doesn't really have, maybe they were hired a week ago and they don't have the experiences that you do
Mm-hmm.
and all the people that you could rely on, you know, the stories that have happened. And I say stories, but they're just people's lives
Mm-hmm.
that you're drawing from, the
Sure.
experiences.
Right.
Steve, I know
Yeah.
you have stories of people who've had some weird, different things happen, and you were able to figure it out. Can you tell us a story of one of your clients? You don't have to mention any names, where you had to really dig to find an answer for them.
Well, I'll give you a recent example. Just
Please.
this week, I had a guy. He was laid off from his company, and they laid him off suddenly. And that's happening a lot now. And they laid him off suddenly. It was 12th of the month, and they said, "Well, you can stay until the end of the month." And as we speak, it just happens to be the month of October, so it has 31 days. So he had a very few days to struggle to figure out what to do. He was past 65, but he hadn't taken his B yet. It's a complication. There's some extra steps you have to go in order to get that accomplished. And then he was worried about his prescriptions because he had a major ailment going into all of this. So he came to me in a panic, and we straightened it all out within about a week or so, and got his Part B enrolled, and got his prescription drug plan set up at the right time, just at the right time. And it was really close. It really was. But as long as you can contact someone who really knows the ropes and the proper steps, then you're going to be in good shape. And that's why I'm an agent, and I represent several companies. So it's very satisfying to do that, to help people answer their questions and move them in the right direction.
If you're listening to us on a podcast, I know you're wondering what Steve's phone number is, because that's how he loves to hear from his clients. So I'm going to give that to you. Make sure that you either re-listen to this podcast or pull over right now and get a pen and paper out. It's 832-754-3292. That's Steve Baker from the Baker Senior Show. And Steve will answer, or if he doesn't, he'll call you right back. Just leave him a quick message. And he will answer your Medicare questions. Whether you're looking for yourself, a spouse, a neighbor, a friend at church, it doesn't matter. Steve is wanting to help you figure out the Medicare mumbo jumbo. And those are my words. Those are my words. I have known Steve for a while. He's helped me with a friend who has Alzheimer's, and she had to go into a personal care home. He helped me with all the Medicare mumbo jumbo. He didn't fill me with all the details. He just said, okay, I've done my research. This is what we can do. She can have a visiting doctor. She can have this, and she can be covered for that. Here's the medication issues. So basically, he can answer any questions that you might have. And and I want you to think about other people. What about your elderly neighbor? What about your spouse who is a little older than you are, maybe, or somebody at work who all of a sudden gets laid off? Well, their mind is going crazy right now. You need to give them Steve's phone number so that they can get in just like this last guy did before it's too late. So make sure you have that phone number. Put it on your refrigerator. It's 832-754-3292. Make sure you contact Steve with any questions about Medicare.
Good. Yeah. Yep. Now we're coming upon the time when people will see a lot of commercials on TV, in about like every 30 seconds there's something about Medicare pops up, and people are really confused about that and what to do and so forth. But I'll say this: there are two divisions in this country. One on the side of the younger people. I call them younger people, under 65. Okay, those people, are rocking along, and they've had their program set for many years, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm 65. What do I do? What do I do? So there's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of your telephone starts ringing, your mailbox fills up, and a lot of things that start happening, and you're really confused about it. And I've been doing it long enough that I'm not I'm not in this. I do help people, and when I do it, I what's called make a sale, but I'm not a salesman as such.
Right.
I'm more of a knowledge person. So I can lead them in the right direction, and I don't need to do business with them necessarily, but I do uh, understand that a lot of issues need to be clarified in their minds, and then they can take it from there. So yeah, I'll be glad to help almost anyone at any time about Medicare. But we are coming up on this season. October 15th through December 7th is called Annual Enrollment Period, AEP, they call it. So AEP is a special season where everything ramps up, and the everything starts hitting the TV screen. Joe Namath, with one of the major companies, you see him every 30 seconds, and you see others in there in between. Do this, do that, zero premium, dental, vision, all of that. So they have to get a lot of information out in a short period of time, maybe 30 seconds or 45 seconds or whatever it is. Boom, 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 boom. Call this number, call this number, call this number, call this number. You go, oh, what am I going to do? But the thing about it is, you just have to calm down a little bit. And I'm not the only one. There are lots of agents out there like me. So either call me or an agent of your choice, so they can sit down with you and clarify. In October 15th through December 7th is the time that you can do that. And in certain circumstances, October 1st, you can do that. October 1st, say, through December 7th, or October 15th. So you need to look at it now, especially if you're on either side. If you're on the Advantage side, if you've been doing that for a good while and you seem to be reasonably happy, but you might want to try to check around and see if you could get a better company or a better situation for yourself. That's one thing you can do. On the supplement side, everybody has a side, what we call a standalone drug plan, Part D plan. It's standalone. It's totally separate from your Medicare issues on that side. So everybody needs to check their drug plan in that period of time, and I can help them do that as well. So you can, in this period of time, if you need to check your prescription plan, prescription plans change year by year, and everybody who's on a prescription plan of any sort needs to use this period of time to check their situation, because their drugs have changed, their health has changed. A lot can change in a year. So I'll be glad to help anybody with that situation as well. So there we go. Glad to help you.
I appreciate all the explanations. Thank you very much, Steve. It's clear as mud, and so I know you know all about that. Okay. Uh, if you're new to Medicare or you're confused about Medicare, all you have to do is call Steve, and he's going to explain it for your situation. He's not going to go into all the details about everything Medicare. He's going to figure out what it is that you need, and that is less confusing. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you, Steve, for all your time and your effort to try to help us with our Medicare. The insurance industry is wide and vast, and we need someone like you who's got the experience and willingness to help us. Thank you. Now, remember, we are here live every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central Time on YouTube and Facebook. And we would love you to go over and share our show with your friends and your neighbors. All you have to do is go to YouTube and look up Baker Seniors and like us and subscribe and share. Thank you, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye.